I am an enigma, I make fairies and gnomes. I don't care. Yes, that's how it goes. My wheels don't slow me down, and it's nice to have a seat. I'm having fun, I love my boys, my life is complete.
Hey, it's Enigma, and I've made a video about the circumstances surrounding my adoption and how the adoption happened before. But what I want to talk about today is how being adopted affects someone in terms of their mental health, their emotional health, how being adopted really makes you feel about yourself. I've got a few notes. I might keep looking that way. My notepad's propped up. Let me fill you in on how it started. I was told at 5 that I was adopted. And what I was told was that my birth mum had got pregnant by somebody else, lied to her husband and said it was his, and they got married. And when I was born, I was a mistake. It was clear I wasn't his, apparently. And I was pushed to the bottom of the bed, and he gave her an ultimatum of to keep me and be a single mum or to give me up for adoption, and he would stay with her and they could go on and have their own family, which they did. And I absolutely think that I was better in the place that I ended up than where I could have been. So I do understand that. And I also understand that there are so many other circumstances around this that I can't even fathom. And I couldn't imagine being in that situation myself. That must be a horrible, horrible choice to be given. But so she was told that she could stay married and have a real family. Now, my adopted family, this is still at 5, I'm being told this. My adoptive family had a natural daughter and then couldn't have any more children. And apparently their daughter wished in a wishing well for a sister. So I was told that I was adopted as an 8th birthday present for her, which immediately makes me feel inferior. I was a gift for someone. I'm like an object, an item, you know. Oh, I want a Game Boy for Christmas. Oh, I want a human being for Christmas, kind of thing. That's kind of how it felt at 5. Like, oh shit, I'm like a Barbie doll to her. Crap, what happens when she doesn't want to play with me anymore? And there were a few incidents through my childhood that particularly bothered me from 5 onwards. I distinctly remember that Lindsay, their daughter, was doing a colouring Christmas card, and I decided that I wanted to help, and I did some. And when she got back and saw that I'd done some, there was this huge explosion. There was yelling and screaming. How could I fuck up her stuff? It's her stuff. I'm not even her real sister, and I'm ruining her life. And she wishes that she'd never wished for someone like me. And I just remember being like, shit. This is one of those things that I might not get through. The other thing that bothered me was when I was 7, we got a puppy. And we got it one day, and I was so excited. I called it Cindy. It was a little black and white Jack Russell. It was so cute, so adorable. And I took her outside in the garden and played with her, but she was a very new puppy, and I remember she accidentally, while we were having tea, pooed in the kitchen, and there was a big fuss about that, and they put her outside in the garden and cleaned it up, and I didn't think anything of it, and I went to bed that night thinking nothing was wrong. I woke up about 9:30 and went to get a drink of water, and there was a lady in the kitchen, and she was holding Cindy, and I realized that they were getting rid of Cindy. They were giving her away because she messed up. She wasn't house trained. They didn't want to do that. They wanted the perfect dog, or they didn't want a dog. And that very deeply affected me, because that was true proof to me of, you fuck up, you get kicked out. And that really affected me. I felt worthless. I stopped connecting with people. I stopped trusting people. I would be the silent one in a conversation because I wouldn't want to say anything wrong. I would have no opinions on anything. I wouldn't say anything. I felt worthless. I really did. I remember getting excited when we were going on a summer holiday. Now, we live in Yorkshire, and we were going down to Cornwall, which we went for summer school down there. And I was really excited, and I was talking about how excited I was because we got to choose what we went to do, and I was doing some pottery, and I was doing some painting and sculpting, and I was so excited. And we must have got less than a mile down the road when my adopted mum turned around and literally screamed in my face, "If you say one more word before we get there, we are dumping you out of this car and that is it. You're not coming." And I didn't say another word. It was a 6.5 hour drive, and I did not say one word. What I started doing was, when I had to go into a room and say something, I would rehearse in my head what I was going to say before I went in, so that I could see how it sounded, and I could see if I could think of any problems it might create. School continued to let them know that I was unhappy and that I wasn't speaking, I wasn't performing well, I wasn't meeting expectations, unlike Lindsay had in their school. So they started taking me to therapy. This was before they knew about attachment disorder and that kind of thing. All they knew was that sometimes adoptions worked out and sometimes they didn't. And when you have a child who can't express themselves, feels like an inferior human being, and can't talk or have an opinion on anything, they didn't know anything about that being part of it. So we went to therapist after therapist. As soon as a therapist would start to say that maybe my adoptive parents had some part in the problems I was having, we would immediately swap to a different therapist. And the ones that tried to advocate for me were instantly sacked, and someone else who was more sympathetic to their point of view was brought in. Those things still affect me today. I can't go into a supermarket and decide what I want to buy for tea to eat. I can't make a decision about what to order from a delivery place. I can't choose something. If somebody said this or this, I literally cannot make the choice. And it's not because it's like I don't know. It's because I can't make the choice, because having an opinion was wrong. And that affects me to this day in relationships, in ordering a burger or a pizza. You know, it affects my everyday life all the time. My partner will ask me, "Do you want a cup of tea?" And I'm like, I don't know. And sometimes he brings one and sometimes he doesn't. But it has been ingrained for almost 40 years that what I think and what I feel and what I believe is irrelevant, and in fact detrimental to everybody else around me. And that really affects who you are. Things weren't working out, and at 12 I went to boarding school, and at boarding school you were a number. You weren't a person, you weren't a name, you were a number. And at boarding school I became 211, and I will talk about that more in the next video in this kind of series. If you're watching this, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you're adopted or you are birth family or anything, please comment. I reply to comments. I'm very open to creating discussions and dialogues in them. It's really a topic that I feel we address now with adopted children brilliantly, but there is a generation of us, the 30 to 40-year-olds, who were missed out, and it wasn't detected and it wasn't handled properly. And that's damaged some of us permanently. So, big hugs to everybody, because nobody has it easy in life. Be sensitive. Think of other people's feelings. Be considerate. But always aim to lift somebody up. Do something positive. Be nice, be kind. Peace out.